Mars had been screaming for 11 minutes before anyone realized the sound was coming from beneath the planet. At first, the priests of the Red Planet believed it to be interference. Static was common on Mars. Everything spoke there. Cogitators whispered in machine code prayers. Reactor stacks groaned through kilometers of iron. Data shrines muttered binary scripture into electrical storms. Manufactorums thundered without pause beneath skies the color of dried blood, and the orbital rings sang with the vibrations of docking vessels, defense platforms, pilgrim barges, and ancient engines whose original purposes had been forgotten thousands of years before. Mars was never silent. Silence was considered suspicious. Noise was life. Noise was industry. Noise was the machine god thinking. So when a low harmonic began appearing simultaneously in the augur arrays of 13 forge temples scattered across the northern hemisphere, most engines' ears filed it as environmental corruption. The signal possessed no recognizable language. It contained no Mechanicus Binharic, no scrap code, no Vox signature, no astropathic component. It was merely a tone, one note, deep, steady, impossible. 11 minutes later, the tone changed. Every chronometer in the Tharsis region stopped. For exactly 3 seconds, Mars forgot time. Then every chronometer restarted at once, and from beneath the crust came 3 impacts. Boom, boom, boom. The first cracked stained ferroglass in the basilica of infinite calculations. The second caused dormant servitors beneath Olympus Mons to awaken without commands. The third silenced 37 million machines across the planet. For 1 second, Mars became quiet. Not damaged, not dead. Quiet. The priests would later regard that single second as the most terrifying moment in the planet's recorded history. Then the machines returned. Every reactor restarted, every forge resumed, every servitor continued its assigned labor, every cogitator resumed calculation, except one, buried beneath the Noctis Labyrinthus, inside a vault believed to date from the earliest days of the Mechanicum. An ancient seismic cogitator began printing a sequence onto a ribbon of parchment. Magos Dominus Helix-9 received the report 18 minutes later. He read the sequence once, then again. His biological eye narrowed while his 6 optical implants rotated independently. The parchment contained coordinates, not latitude, not longitude, depth. A depth no Mechanicus drilling expedition had ever officially reached. The coordinates pointed toward the center of Mars. Helix-9 stood motionless within his command sanctum while machine incense drifted around the bronze cables descending from his spine. Around him, subordinate tech priests waited. None spoke. The Magos extended one metal finger. Source, a lex mechanic, bowed. Unknown, Dominus. Transmission route? Unknown. Device responsible? Unknown. Helix-9's mechadendrites twitched. He disliked unknowns. Unknowns were gaps in data. Gaps invited error. Error invited superstition. Superstition invited heresy. What lies at these coordinates? The lex mechanic hesitated. That hesitation interested Helix. 9 more than the answer. Nothing recorded. Recorded. The Magos emphasized the word. The priest lowered his hooded head. Correct, Dominus. The official geologic archives show no structures, cavities, excavation routes, or machine complexes below the designated strata. Unofficial archives. Another hesitation. There are references. Helix-9 turned toward him. Retrieve. The lex mechanic connected a cable from his wrist to a nearby data altar. Dusty hololithic symbols appeared in the air. Old Mechanicum glyphs, older than the Imperium, older than the Treaty of Olympus, older perhaps than Mars's allegiance to Terra. Helix-9 watched as fragments of forbidden excavation records assembled themselves. Dates were missing. Names had been erased. Entire passages had been deliberately corrupted. But one phrase survived in 4 separate documents. The red depth. Another phrase appeared in 2. The forbidden axis. And finally a warning. Do not dig beneath the 13th layer. Helix-9 remained silent for 7 seconds. One of his servo skulls drifted closer. Its auspex lenses reflected the warning. Do not dig. A strange command from Mars. The entire civilization of the Adeptus Mechanicus had been built upon excavation. They dug through worlds, through moons, through wrecks, through ruins, through history. Knowledge was buried. Therefore knowledge must be unearthed. To command the priesthood of Mars not to dig was equivalent to commanding humanity not to breathe. Helix-9 transmitted a burst of encrypted binharic. Inform Fabricator Locum Veneratus Rho. Request authorization for deep core investigation. The subordinate priests stiffened. One whispered, "The Fabricator General may need to be informed." Helix-9 turned. The priest immediately lowered his head. Helix-9's voice became cold. "The Fabricator General will be informed when data justifies attention." The decision would later kill 8,000 people. It might also have saved the Imperium. Within 6 hours, the investigation was approved. Within 12, a drilling force descended beneath Noctis Labyrinthus. They called the expedition Vox Profundis, the voice of the depth. Magos Helix-9 led it personally. His crawler resembled a cathedral built upon tracks, 20 meters tall, plated in red armor. Its hull carried hundreds of prayers engraved into adamantium. Hydraulic excavation arms unfolded from its sides like metallic limbs. Behind it followed Skitari cohorts, combat servitors, seismic engines, drilling rigs, plasma cutters, and mobile data shrines. They descended through existing Mechanicus tunnels. 1 kilometer, 5, 10, 20. The temperature increased. The air vanished. Radiation climbed. Human life would have died there within minutes. The Mechanicus continued. At 34 kilometers, the rock changed. Mars possessed layers like any world. Basalt, iron-rich stone, volcanic formations, ancient impact zones. But this layer was black. Not dark, black. It absorbed auspex light. It reflected no thermal radiation. Samples resisted cutting. Plasma torches damaged nothing. Meltabeams left faint discoloration, but no penetration. Helix-9 stood before the wall while servo arms examined it. His geologic databases returned no match. Composition, a materials priest responded. Unknown. Helix-9 disliked that answer even more the second time. Density, variable, clarify. The priest's voice became uncertain. The substance appears to possess different density depending on the angle of observation. A nearby Skitari Alpha turned his masked face toward the wall. Helix-9 noticed. Explain scientifically. The materials priest emitted a nervous burst of binary. I cannot. Helix-9 placed his mechanical hand against the black surface. His fingertips detected nothing. No heat, no vibration, no texture. Then something touched him from the other side. Helix-9 froze. The contact lasted less than half a second. A pressure against his palm, like another hand pressed against the wall. He withdrew immediately. Dominus? Asked the Alpha. Helix-9 looked at his hand. His sensors reported no contact, no external force, no anomaly. yet he had felt it. He turned toward the excavation rigs. Continue. For 17 hours they searched for a weakness. None existed. Then a Skitarii ranger found a door. It had been 200 meters away the entire time. No one had seen it. The doorway stood 7 meters tall and 3 wide. There was no seam in the black material, no hinge, no control panel, only an outline, and above it, carved into the impossible stone, was a symbol. Helix-9 recognized it instantly, the symbol of Mars, not the modern cog and skull. The ancient disk divided between metal and bone, half machine, half human. Yet the symbol was wrong. The human half had no skull. It had a face, a man's face, eyes closed, mouth open, as if sleeping or screaming. The tech priests gathered before it. Binary discussion erupted. Helix-9 raised one hand. Silence. "Date the carving!" The materials priest scanned it. His instruments returned impossible readings. He recalibrated, scanned again. His respiration accelerated. Report. The priest turned slowly. Dominus. The carved surface is older than the surrounding volcanic layer. Age. Unable to calculate. Approximation. At minimum, several billion years. No one spoke. Mars itself was roughly 4.5 billion years old. Helix-9 approached the symbol. The carved face looked human. Not similar. Not vaguely humanoid. Human. Its proportions matched Homo sapiens, a species that had not existed when the carving was supposedly made. Helix-9 extended a data probe. The instant the probe touched the symbol, the door opened. No mechanism moved, no stone slid aside. The black surface simply ceased to exist. Beyond it waited darkness. The expedition entered. Their lumen beams revealed a corridor. The architecture was immense. Walls rose 30 meters. Columns disappeared into darkness overhead. The floor was formed from seamless golden metal. Gold. Helix-9 stopped. The comparison was inevitable. Terra, the Imperial Palace, the Custodes, the Emperor. Gold belonged to many human traditions, of course, but among the priesthood, gold carried powerful symbolic associations with the master of mankind. Yet this metal was not auramite. It was not any recognized alloy. They advanced. Every meter produced more questions. The corridor had been constructed for human proportions in some places and gigantic beings in others. Doorways changed scale without visible transition. Steps became larger, then smaller. Some passages curved through geometries that should not fit inside the mapped volume. The deeper they traveled, the colder it became. That was another impossibility. They were descending toward the mantle. Temperatures should have risen. Instead, frost began forming across Skitarii armor. At 900 meters beyond the black threshold, they found the first statue. It depicted a robed figure. Human, male, tall. Its face had been removed. Not damaged, removed. A smooth oval remained where features should have been. The statue held a sphere representing Mars. Behind the figure rose a halo, 20 metallic spikes. Helix-9 stared. An electro-priest whispered, "The Omnissiah." Another answered, "Impossible." Helix-9 scanned the statue. Its material matched nothing in Mechanicus archives. At the base were inscriptions, not Gothic, not Binharic, not any language catalogued by the Imperium. But when Helix-9 looked at them, his cognition implants translated the symbols automatically. He did not understand how. The inscription read, "The first throne was built for the one who would not sit." Helix-9 disconnected his translation systems. The words remained understandable. He closed his biological eye. They remained inside his mind. "Do not read the inscriptions," he ordered. One priest laughed. It was a quiet sound. Everyone turned. Tech priest Lear 44 stood before the statue. Her remaining human mouth curved upward. She had no emotional reason to laugh. Her cortical implants suppressed spontaneous reaction. Yet she laughed again. "They built it too early," she said. Helix-9 approached. "What?" Lear 44 tilted her head. "They built it before he was born." "Who?" Her eyes filled with blood. "The man in gold." Then she began screaming. Her mechadendrites attacked her own body. One pierced her throat. Another tore open her chest. A Skitari fired. The radium round struck her skull. She collapsed. Before anyone could move, the statue turned its head, just slightly, toward Helix-9. Gunfire exploded. The Skitari fired dozens of rounds. The statue shattered. Inside it was human bone. Helix-9 ordered immediate quarantine. Samples were taken. Genetic analysis returned a match. Human. Age estimates returned nonsense. Some tests said 3 million years. Others, 6 billion. One declared the bones had not been created yet. Helix-9 transmitted an emergency report to the surface. No signal escaped. They attempted laser communication through drilled relay points. Nothing. Hardwired cable. Nothing. Data servitors sent back toward the entrance returned 30 minutes later. Their memories had been erased. Helix-9 considered retreat. His logic engines calculated mission danger beyond acceptable thresholds. But his curiosity remained. Curiosity was not officially a virtue of the Mechanicus. But without curiosity there would be no Mechanicus. He ordered the expedition deeper. They passed 11 more statues. None moved. All had missing faces. The inscriptions continued. The second throne was built for the one who would sit too long. The third was built for the one who would die while living. The fourth was built for the one who would become a door. Helix-9 stopped reading. At kilometer 3 they found the city. There was no other word for it. The corridor opened onto a vast underground cavern. Golden towers rose from a dark plain. Bridges crossed abysses. Thousands of silent structures extended into impossible distance. Above them was not a ceiling. Above them was a sky, black, filled with stars. Helix-9's astronomical systems began identifying constellations, then malfunctioned. The stars represented the galaxy, but not the current galaxy. The positions were wrong. The stars were younger. Some had not yet formed. Others existed where modern records showed only dead remnants. Magos Astronomicus V Lambda stared upward. Dominus. Helix-9 waited. That configuration. Report. It corresponds approximately to the Milky Way 4 billion years ago. One Skitari made the sign of the cog. Another whispered a prayer. Helix-9 looked across the Golden City, a city beneath Mars, constructed when Mars was young, constructed in human proportions, constructed before humanity existed. The logic was impossible. Therefore, one assumption was false. Either the city was not ancient, or humanity was. They descended. No dust covered the streets. No decay touched the structures. Their footsteps echoed. Occasionally, machines moved in distant towers. Shapes passed behind windows, but every structure they entered was empty. They found furniture, tables, chairs, beds, all human-sized. They found vessels shaped like cups, writing tools, ceremonial robes preserved behind translucent fields. They found murals. Most had been destroyed, but fragments survived. One depicted a blue world, Terra. Helix-9 knew it immediately. Continents were different. No cities, no ice formations matching current records. But it was Terra. Around the planet stood 12 figures, tall, golden, faceless. One held a sword, one carried a staff, one bore wings, another wore a crown of fire. At the center was a 13th figure, smaller than the others, human-sized, a child. The child's face had been deliberately scratched away. Below the mural was another inscription: "He will be born last." A cold sensation passed through Helix-9's organic tissue. He ordered the mural destroyed. No one obeyed. He turned. Every member of the expedition stood facing the image, motionless. Even the Skitarii, even the servitors. Resume movement. Nothing. Helix-9 transmitted command overrides. Nothing. Then the child in the mural spoke. Not aloud. Inside every mind. "Come lower." The entire expedition began walking. Helix-9 tried to stop. His mechanical legs ignored him. He activated emergency motor disconnects. Nothing. He ordered his spinal implants to sever locomotion. Nothing. His body continued. Hundreds marched through the Golden City. They passed through a gate, then down a staircase. The steps spiraled beneath the city, kilometer after kilometer. Their lamps dimmed. The walls became black again, not stone, the impossible substance from the entrance. After 6 hours, the expedition entered a chamber. At its center stood a throne. Helix-9 had seen the golden throne of Terra only in holy schematics. No outsider understood the complete machine. Perhaps no one alive did. The golden throne was not merely a chair. It was a vast technological system integrated into the imperial palace, supporting the emperor's ruined body while empowering the Astronomicon and sealing the damaged webway beneath Terra. The object before Helix-9 was different, and yet horrifyingly familiar. Golden machinery rose around a central seat. Cables thicker than men disappeared into the floor. Conduits arched overhead. Thousands of interface needles surrounded the backrest. Great mechanical arms hung motionless. Energy collectors radiated outward. It was simpler than Terra's throne, cleaner, newer, or perhaps older. At its center was an empty seat, human-sized. Helix-9's body stopped. So did everyone else. Their motor control returned. Some collapsed. Others shouted prayers. Helix-9 stood staring. His logic engines compared every visible component against restricted Mechanicus records. The architectural similarities were undeniable. Not identical, but related. The golden throne of Terra looked like a machine rebuilt from fragments, expanded across ages, modified by desperate hands. This throne looked like the original concept, a prototype. No, that conclusion was too dangerous. He rejected it. Then Magos V Lambda pointed toward the base. Dominus. There was a symbol, a circle divided into two, half machine, half living face, the ancient symbol of Mars. Beneath it were words. Helix-9 tried not to read. He failed. For the Emperor of Mankind. No one moved. A Skitarii dropped his rifle. The sound echoed through the chamber. Helix-9 approached the throne. "Scan." No one responded. "Scan." The priests obeyed. Auspec's beams crossed the machine. Reports flooded his cognition. Power source, unknown. Age, impossible. Material, unknown. Operational status, dormant. Biological residue, detected. Helix-9 froze. Residue location. A rune appeared. The seat. He approached. Microscopic samples were extracted. Genetic analysis began. Helix-9 watched the progress counter. 20%, 40, 60, 80. The cogitator stopped, then displayed a match probability. 99.9999997%. Helix-9 stared at the identity code. The genetic reference originated from the most restricted biological archive on Mars, a database accessible only to the highest ranks of the priesthood. A sample allegedly taken from ancient artifacts associated with the Emperor himself. The biological residue on the throne matched the Emperor of mankind. Someone laughed again. Not Leah 44. She was dead. The sound came from a Skitari, then another, then another. Soon half the expedition was laughing. Helix-9 shouted command codes. "Cease vocalization!" The laughter stopped simultaneously. All helmeted faces turned toward the throne. A voice emerged from the machine. "You're late." Helix-9's weapons activated automatically. Plasma coils charged, mechadendrites raised. The throne remained empty. The voice spoke again. "Very late. Identify." Helix-9's voice echoed. No answer. "Identify." Lights appeared across the throne, one by one. Ancient systems awakened. Power surged through cables. The entire chamber vibrated. Then a figure appeared in the seat. Not physically. A hologram. A man. Young, dark hair, human, unremarkable. No golden armor, no halo, no divine radiance. He wore simple clothing. Helix-9 stared. Every historical image of the Emperor differed. Some showed a giant, others a warrior, others a radiant king. The being supposedly altered perception. Perhaps no authentic image existed. The hologram looked tired. He leaned forward. "How long?" Helix-9 calculated. "Clarify." "How long since the surface developed industrial civilization?" "Approximately 15,000 years since the earliest advanced Martian industrial epochs, depending on classification." The hologram frowned. "And Terra?" "Human civilization has existed on Terra for—" "No! Current era!" Helix-9 paused. "Early 42nd millennium." The hologram closed his eyes. "Too late. Identify yourself." The man looked at him. "I was a message." "From whom?" "From him." The hologram gestured toward the empty seat beneath its projection. "The Emperor. That is what you call him." Helix-9's logic cores accelerated. "Did the Emperor construct this device?" "No." "Did humanity construct it?" "No." The answer struck harder than any weapon. "Who constructed it?" The hologram looked upward. "Those who found us before we existed." Helix-9 said nothing. The hologram continued. "They saw the species coming. Precognition? Not exactly. Time manipulation. Closer. Xenos." The projection smiled faintly. That word did not exist when they began. "Species designation? I do not know. Origin? I do not know. Purpose?" The smile vanished. "To build God." Several priests recoiled. Helix-9's weapon systems locked onto the holographic projector. "Clarify." They searched possible futures, billions, trillions. They discovered patterns. Civilizations rose. Civilizations fell. Species changed. Stars died. But one pattern repeated. The hologram looked at Helix-9. "Humanity. Impossible. Humanity did not yet exist, but its probability did." Helix-9 processed. "The builders predicted human evolution. They cultivated it." Silence. Even the machines seemed quieter. "Evidence." The hologram raised one hand. The chamber vanished. Helix-9 stood beneath an alien sky. He knew intellectually that it was simulation. His sensors insisted otherwise. A red young Mars filled the horizon. Above it hung enormous structures. Ships, no, machines, thousands of kilometers long. They surrounded the planet like instruments around a patient. The hologram spoke beside him. 4 billion years ago, they came here. The scene accelerated. Machines burrowed into Mars. Golden cities formed underground. Great engines descended toward the core. Why Mars? Because Mars would die. The hologram pointed toward Terra in the distance. And Terra would live. The vision shifted. Primordial Earth. Oceans, storms, continents. Something fell from the sky. Microscopic. Seeds, cells, information. They did not create life on Terra. The hologram watched the oceans. They adjusted probabilities. Toward humanity. Toward a species capable of producing him. The scene changed again. Millions of years passed. Creatures evolved. Primates, humans, cities, war, civilization. Then a figure appeared repeatedly. Sometimes a king, sometimes a soldier, sometimes a scholar. Sometimes merely a silhouette among crowds. The Emperor. They waited for his birth, said the hologram. Why? Because they had seen what happens without him. Images flashed. Humanity consumed by warp entities. Human empires exterminated by Xenos. Artificial intelligences ruling empty stars. Galaxy-wide extinction. Then other futures. The Emperor triumphant. The Emperor dead. The Emperor corrupted. The Emperor ruling. The Emperor disappearing. The Emperor becoming something vast. In every vision, the galaxy burned differently. Your builders attempted to control the future. Yes. Did they succeed? The hologram looked at him sadly. No. The vision ended. The chamber returned. Helix-9 processed silently. Relationship between this machine and the golden throne of Terra. This was the first. The words entered the chamber like a blade. Helix-9's entire theological framework trembled. The golden throne was discovered on Terra during the Age of Strife, he said. Its origins remain obscure, but it was assembled from knowledge found in many places. Some human, some not. Some fragments came from here. How? He came. Who? You know. Helix-9 looked at the seat. The Emperor visited this chamber, long before the Imperium. When? Several times. Why? The hologram looked toward the throne. To learn. Helix-9's mechanical fingers tightened. The implications multiplied. The machine cult recognized the Emperor as the Omnissiah, physical manifestation or avatar of the machine god. Some believed it, literally, some politically, some mystically. But if the Emperor had learned from a pre-human machine beneath Mars, then the relationship between the Omnissiah and technology became dangerously complicated. Did he know who built it? No. Did he use it? Once. Purpose. The hologram hesitated. That hesitation terrified Helix-9. Purpose. To see. See what? The end. Every lumen in the chamber went dark. For 3 seconds there was nothing. Then Helix-9 saw Terra. Not current Terra. Future Terra. The Imperial Palace was shattered. The Himalaysian foundations burned. The Astronomicon was dark. Ships fell from orbit like rain. At the heart of the palace, the golden throne stood empty. A figure walked away from it. Helix-9 tried to identify the figure. The vision ended. Lights returned. Several priests were kneeling. Others were weeping oil. Helix-9 turned to the hologram. What did you show us? A possibility. Probability. Unknown. Who leaves the throne? The hologram did not answer. Who? I cannot say. Cannot or will not. Cannot. Why? Because every time I identify him, the future changes. Helix-9 stared. Then his seismic sensors detected movement. Far above, explosions. The expedition's communication systems suddenly reactivated. A flood of emergency transmissions arrived simultaneously. Surface command, Forge Temple alerts, orbital warnings, distress signals. Helix-9 filtered them. One message repeated. Unauthorized descent detected. Another. Hostile force entering Vox Profundis route. Another. Identification. Adeptus Custodes. Helix-9's organic heart accelerated. The Custodes. 10,000 years of Imperial history had taught one lesson clearly. When the Golden Warriors of Terra came without warning, secrets usually died with those who knew them. The hologram looked toward the entrance. They remembered. Who? Terra. Helix-9 opened a command channel. All Skitari prepare defensive positions. The priests stared at him. Magos Lambda approached. Dominus! Against Custodes! Helix-9 answered in Binharic. Not combat. Then why defensive positions? Because they may interpret knowledge as contamination. Lambda understood. You believe they will destroy us. I calculate a significant probability. A new transmission arrived. Priority absolute. Authority seal. Captain General's office. Helix-9 opened it. A single sentence appeared. Abandon the chamber. Touch nothing. Speak to no one. Then another. We are coming. The hologram smiled. They said that last time. Helix-9 turned sharply. Explain. But the hologram vanished. The throne remained active. Its lights pulsed slowly, like breathing. The Custodes arrived 42 minutes later. There were only 5. 5 golden warriors descended through kilometers of tunnels filled with heavily armed Skitari. No one fired. No one dared. At their head walked Shield Captain, a Castian Val. His auramide armor was scratched from recent battle. A guardian spear rested in one hand. His helmet carried no decorative plume, only sensor arrays and a black marking Helix-9 did not recognize. The custodian entered the throne chamber, stopped, and lowered his spear. Not in reverence, in recognition. Helix-9 noticed. You have seen this. Val looked at him. The custodian removed his helmet. His face was severe, older than most humans could ever become. Who activated it? It activated independently. Who sat upon it? No one. Has it spoken? Helix-9 considered lying. Custodes possessed formidable abilities of observation. A lie would likely fail. Yes. Val's expression changed. Barely, but enough. What did it say? That this machine predates humanity. I did not ask for interpretation. It stated that it was constructed by beings who anticipated humanity's evolution. Val walked past him toward the throne. The other custodes formed a perimeter. One carried a black device covered in null field generators. Another examined the inscriptions. None appeared surprised. Helix-9 watched. Your organization possesses prior knowledge. Val said nothing. Answer. The custodian turned. You forget yourself, Magos. I remember precisely. This is Mars. And beneath Mars lies an Imperial-level threat. By what treaty definition? Val's gaze hardened. By the definition that if this chamber becomes public knowledge, half your priesthood may schism by sunrise. Helix-9 had already calculated that. The cult Mechanicus depended upon layers of doctrine. The machine god, the omnisire, the motive force, the emperor's relationship to all three. Knowledge that an alien civilization may have manipulated human evolution and constructed a throne associated with the emperor would fracture theological unity. Some would proclaim the builders true servants of the machine god. Others would call the entire site Xenos deception. Some would claim the emperor had been engineered. Some would claim the machine god had guided the builders. Others might decide Mars itself, not Terra, was the true center of imperial destiny. Civil war was plausible. How long have the custodes known? Val studied him. Since before you replaced your first organ. How long? The custodian looked at the throne. Since the Emperor ordered this place sealed. The chamber seemed to shrink. Helix-9's voice dropped. The Emperor sealed it. Yes. Then the expedition records will be destroyed. Why was the site not erased? Val gave a grim smile. Do you think no one tried? Helix-9 looked at the black walls. The material cannot be destroyed by any weapon we possess. Exterminatus. Tested. Several priests emitted shocked static. Helix-9 faced him. Explain. Val walked toward the edge of the chamber. During the Great Crusade, a region beneath Mars was subjected to controlled antimatter detonation. Officially, it was an industrial accident. Helix-9 searched his memory. He knew the event. The Sidonian deep catastrophe. Millions dead. Records sealed. The explosion failed. It damaged everything around the structure, not the structure. Why did the Emperor fear it? Val looked back. Because it knew him. Helix-9 stared. The custodian continued. Not his title, not his armies. Him. What does that mean? When he first came here, before Unity, it spoke his birth name. Helix-9's processors stalled. The Emperor's original name was among the greatest mysteries in human history. Even the custodes might not know it. Val continued. It showed him events from his childhood, places on ancient Terra, people forgotten before written history, memories no external observer should possess. The builders observed Terra. They observed more than Terra. Val approached the throne. They had mapped possible human futures, billions of years before humans existed. Then they possess predictive technology beyond anything in the Imperium. They possessed. Could it be recovered? No, you cannot know that. We do know. How? Because the Emperor spent centuries trying. That silenced everyone. Helix-9 stepped closer. Centuries. On and off. He returned repeatedly. Before the Imperium. Before and after. What did he learn? Val's face became unreadable. Enough to order it buried forever. The throne lights brightened. Both turned. A new hologram appeared. This time it was not the young man. It was the Emperor, or something wearing his appearance. Golden armor, long dark hair, eyes like sunlight. Every Mechanicus priest fell to their knees. Even Helix-9's legs nearly obeyed before he overrode them. The custodes raised their weapons. The holographic Emperor looked at Val. A Castian. The shield captain froze. Helix-9 turned. You recognize this entity, Val whispered. It should not know me. The hologram smiled. But I do. Custodian weapons aimed at the throne. Identify yourself. I am a prediction. You are not him. No. The projection stepped down from the throne. A hologram should not have cast shadows. This one did. I am one version of him. Val's spear crackled. What do you want? To prevent the mistake. What mistake? The one he is about to make. Helix-9 sensors registered a sudden spike from the throne. Data flooded every nearby system. Images, equations, coordinates, dates, astronomical maps. The custode's null field carrier activated his device. The data stopped. Too late. Helix-9 had received a file, encrypted. Size, 6.3 exabytes. Title, The Second Death of the Emperor. Val saw it on his systems. Delete it. Helix-9 copied it into 7 isolated memory banks. Delete it, now. Negative. The custodian moved. Helix-9's Skitarii raised weapons. The other custodes reacted instantly. For one terrible second, Mars and Terra stood on the edge of war. The hologram laughed. Exactly. Val stopped. Helix-9 stopped. The hologram looked between them. That is how it begins. What begins? Helix-9 asked. The division. Images filled the chamber walls. Mars in flames, titans fighting titans, forge worlds declaring independence. Custodes slaughtered in the Imperial Palace. Mechanicus fleets bombarding Terra. A red symbol replacing the Imperial Aquila. Then another vision. Terra destroying Mars. Orbital weapons cracking the crust. The Noctis Labyrinthus becoming a continental crater. The throne beneath remaining untouched. Then another. Chaos flooding through Martian manufactorums. Demon engines marching beneath a black sun. Then another. Necron fleets arriving. Then another. Tyranids, orcs. Something Helix-9 did not recognize. Every future ended differently, but each began with the same discovery. This chamber, Val whispered, manipulation. The hologram nodded. Yes, the custodian seemed surprised. You admit it. Of course, every message manipulates. Why show us these? Because one happens. Which? I do not know any more. The hologram's face flickered. For the first time, Helix-9 saw fear. The future became opaque. When? Recently. Define recently. Approximately 2 centuries. Helix-9 calculated. The opening of the Great Rift. The return of Guilliman. The galaxy split. Warp turbulence had changed reality on a fundamental level. The hologram continued. For billions of years, probability could be modeled. Then the galaxy broke. The cicatrix maledictum. Your name for the wound. Why does it affect prediction? Because causality is no longer sufficiently linear. Val tightened his grip. Then your predictions are useless. Mostly. Then why awaken? The hologram looked upward. Because something else awakened. Deep beneath them, Mars trembled. The throne's cables tightened. Not physically, like muscles. Helix-9 scanned the floor. Something massive was moving below. Depth? No result. The motion originated beyond measurable range. Val shouted, "Evacuate." The hologram said, "Too late." The floor opened, not shattered. Opened, golden plates folded apart. Below them was a shaft. A perfect vertical tunnel descending into red light. From below came the original sound. The tone that had awakened Mars. One note, deep, steady. Helix-9 looked down, his optical systems magnified. Far beneath the throne was another structure, larger, far larger. The throne they had discovered was merely an interface, a terminal. The actual machine surrounded the core of Mars. Helix-9's mapping systems tried to process its dimensions. Thousands of kilometers. Impossible machinery wrapped around the planet's center. Rings, columns, energy collectors, geometric structures moving through molten rock without resistance. A machine inside Mars, no. A machine wearing Mars, Helix-9 whispered, by the Omnissiah. The hologram corrected him. No. Every priest looked up. What? The projection's voice became quiet. This is what your ancestors mistook for him. The theological impact was immediate. One priest screamed blasphemy. Another fired at the hologram. Val struck the weapon aside. Helix-9 ignored them. What is the machine? The hologram looked down. A cradle. For what? The tone deepened. The entire planet shook. Across Mars, towers cracked. Orbital traffic lost alignment. Billions of priests looked toward trembling shrine walls. The hologram answered. For a god. Helix-9's mind raced. The machine god. No. Then what? The thing the builders expected humanity to create. What thing? The hologram looked at him. The final Emperor. Val stepped forward. Explain. The Emperor you know is not complete. The custodian's face became dangerous. Choose your next words carefully. He is biologically human, psychically extraordinary, historically unique, but still unfinished. Unfinished according to whom? The builders. Xenos arrogance. Perhaps. The hologram gestured. Images appeared. The Emperor on the golden throne. 10,000 years. Thousands of psychers sacrificed. Faith from quadrillions of humans. Wars fought in his name. Prayers, fear, hope, hatred, devotion, all flowing through the warp. Humanity has spent 10 millennia feeding him. Val's jaw tightened. Faith sustains him. Faith changes him. The image of the Emperor expanded. Golden light, then something behind it. Immense, warp-born, a silhouette, larger than worlds. Helix-9 felt organic fear. The builders predicted that humanity would eventually create a psychic singularity centered upon one individual. The Emperor. Yes, and this machine was designed to contain the result. Val stared down the shaft. Contain or control? Both. The distinction mattered. Helix-9 understood immediately. If the Emperor ever transformed into the entity predicted by the builders, this Martian machine might bind him, or enslave him, or shape him. Perhaps the Golden Throne on Terra already performed part of that function. Did the Emperor know? The hologram nodded. That is why he feared this place. Not because the machine predicted him, because it expected what he might become. Val whispered. He ordered it sealed because he rejected their destiny. Yes, and now? The hologram looked toward Terra. Now he may no longer have a choice. An alarm screamed from the custode systems. Priority signal. Astropathic emergency. Val received it through encrypted channels. His face changed. Helix-9 demanded. Report. No. Report. Val ignored him. The hologram spoke. Terra. Everyone turned. What about Terra? The projection flickered. He moved. Val raised his spear. Silence. Helix-9's data systems intercepted fragments of Custodes' communication. Golden Throne instability. Palace lockdown. Astronomican fluctuation. Unconfirmed biological event. Then one phrase. Heartbeat detected. Helix-9 stared at Val. The Emperor's heart. The custodian's expression confirmed it. The chamber erupted in binary prayer. Some priests fell to the floor. Others raised mechanical hands toward the unseen sky. For 10,000 years, the Emperor had sat immobile upon the golden throne, neither truly alive nor truly dead. If his heart had begun beating. The hologram said, "It has started." Val shouted, "What? The transition!" The machine beneath Mars awakened further. Across the shaft, golden rings began rotating. The molten core shifted. Seismic waves crossed the planet. Helix-9 opened surface channels. Chaos. Forge temples evacuating. Maglev lines failing. Titans awakening autonomously. That last report caught him. Repeat. A surface priest screamed through static. God machines are activating without Princeps authorization. Which Legios? All receiving the signal. Titan engines, warhounds, reavers, warlords. Ancient machines opened their eyes. One by one, they turned toward the Imperial Palace on Mars. Then knelt. Not toward Olympus Mons, not toward any forge temple, toward Terra. The tone beneath Mars became words. Not High Gothic, not Benharic, but every machine understood. He is rising. Helix-9's cognition core flooded. Billions of devices across Mars repeated the phrase. Servitors, cogitators, weapons, ships, factory engines. Even ancient machines never connected to networks. He is rising. Val activated his communicator. Terra, this is Shield Captain Val. Initiate protocol Obsidian Martian. Repeat, initiate. The hologram raised a finger. Val's communicator died. You cannot stop it. The custodian charged. His spear passed through the projection and struck the throne. Lightning exploded. Val was thrown backward. A custodian caught him. Helix-9 scanned the throne. Power output climbed exponentially. Machine core reaching critical activation. Val stood. Destroy the interface. You said it cannot be destroyed. We can destroy everything around it. That may destabilize Mars. Better Mars than Terra. The priests reacted instantly. Weapons turned toward the custodies. Helix-9 raised one mechanical arm. Stand down! No one lowered weapons. He transmitted an overriding command. Stand! Down! Slowly, the Skitari obeyed. Val looked at him. Helix-9 said, You are willing to destroy the Red Planet. If required. How many times has Terra made that calculation? More than you want to know. Helix-9 believed him. The hologram spoke again. You are both asking the wrong question. What question? Helix-9 demanded. Why now? Silence. The projection looked toward the machine beneath. It has waited billions of years. Why awaken tonight? The Emperor's change. That is an effect. Helix-9 processed. Then cause. Yes! The hologram gestured. Stars appeared. The galaxy. Then beyond the galaxy. Darkness. Something moved there. At first, Helix-9 thought it was another galaxy. Then the scale became clear. A shadow approached the Milky Way. Vast, slow, impossible. The edge of it covered thousands of stars. Val whispered, Tyranids. No! The hologram enlarged the image. Tyranid hive fleets appeared as tiny tendrils ahead of the shadow. Fleeing. Helix-9 remembered ancient speculation. Some theorized the Tyranids were not simply invading the galaxy. They were escaping something. The Mechanicus officially classified such theories as unsupported. The hologram pointed. The builders knew it would come. What is it? No surviving designation. Biological, partly. Warp entity, partly. Machine, partly. Helix-9's optical lenses narrowed. Then what? The hologram looked almost amused. Older. Val stepped closer. How long until arrival? Depends upon what arrival means. Physical contact. Centuries, perhaps less. Then why activate now? Because its influence arrives first. The hologram changed the image. The Great Rift. Helix-9 stared. You claim the cicatrix maledictum is connected, not created by it, but exploited. Chaos caused the rift. Chaos opened the wound. The projection pointed into the darkness beyond. Something is looking through. The chamber cooled. Helix-9 had no theological framework for the idea. Chaos was already an existential horror. If something beyond the galaxy could use chaos itself as an opening. Val said, And the Emperor? The only predicted defense. The machine beneath Mars pulsed. The builders designed humanity to produce a weapon. Helix-9 felt disgust. Humanity. Yes, we are the weapon. No. The hologram looked toward Terra. He is. The meaning became clear. The builders had not guided human evolution out of benevolence. They had cultivated a species capable of generating a psychic being, powerful enough to oppose something coming from outside the galaxy. The Emperor, a weapon grown across millions of years. Then fed by an empire, fed by faith, fed by suffering, fed by 10,000 years of worship. Helix-9 said, "The Imperium." The hologram nodded. "Accidental refinement." Accidental? The builders did not predict this exact civilization. Then the Emperor's internment on the throne accelerated the process dramatically. Val's eyes filled with anger. "You imply the Horus heresy served their design. I imply nothing. I calculate. Was Horus manipulated? By chaos. Was chaos manipulated?" The hologram paused. Everyone noticed. Val stepped forward. "Answer, I do not know." For the first time, Helix-9 believed the entity fully. Not because of evidence, because uncertainty sounded more truthful than revelation. The deep machine shifted again. A column of light rose through the shaft. It passed through the throne, through the ceiling, through kilometers of Mars, through the surface, into space. Every orbital platform detected it. A golden beam, visible without optics, extended from Mars toward Terra. Across the system, ships turned, astropaths screamed, navigators collapsed. On Terra, the Golden Throne answered. The Astronomicon flared. For 7 seconds it became brighter than any recorded measurement. Thousands of navigators across the galaxy saw a second sun. Some were blinded permanently. Some fell to their knees. Some died smiling, on battlefields from the Segmentum Solar to the edge of Nihilus. Imperial soldiers looked toward skies they could not see through and felt something impossible. Warmth. The Emperor's tarot across 1,000,000 worlds drew the same card. The throne. Then the card burned. Helix-9 saw none of this directly, but reports flooded his systems. Val received more. Terra was in chaos. Custodes deployments. Sisters of Silence summoned. Mechanicus throne technicians reporting impossible regeneration in ancient circuits. Organic vital signs increasing. The Emperor's heart beating again. Once every minute, then every 30 seconds, then every 15. The hologram watched. "He is choosing." "Choosing what?" Val demanded. "Whether to remain a man." Helix-9 looked at the Martian throne. "And if he does not, then your Imperium ends." Weapons rose. The hologram continued. "That does not mean humanity ends." Val's spear crackled. "For us, there is little distinction. For him, there may be." The machine displayed another vision. The Emperor rising from the golden throne. His body burned. Terra shook. Millions died from psychic shock, but afterward a golden presence spread through the warp. Demons fled. Warp storms collapsed. The Astronomicon became unnecessary, because the entire human species could feel him. Then another. The Emperor rose and became a second chaos god. Human souls were pulled into him at death. The Imperium transformed into a civilization of fanatical psychic unity. Then another. The Emperor died. Terra exploded as the webway breach opened. The Sol system fell into the warp. Humanity fragmented. Then another. He remained seated. The machine beneath Mars died. The shadow beyond the galaxy arrived centuries later. Every human world went dark. The hologram lowered its hand. These were the main branches. Val stared at the empty air. Which did he see? All. And what did he choose? None. Helix-9 understood. He sought another path. Yes, the Great Crusade. Part of it. The Webway Project. Part of it. The suppression of religion. Part of it. Each answer reconstructed imperial history. The Emperor had opposed worship perhaps not only because of chaos. Faith directed toward him could transform him into the very entity the builders predicted. He had tried to move humanity into the webway. tried to sever dependence upon the warp, tried to eliminate gods, including the possibility of becoming one. Then the heresy shattered that plan. He was placed on the golden throne. Humanity began worshipping him on a scale beyond imagination. Exactly the path he had tried to avoid. Helix-9 said, he failed. Val turned furiously. The Magos did not retract the statement. The data indicates failure. The hologram shook its head. No. Both looked at it. He delayed. For 10,000 years, Val said. Yes. Why? To find another solution. Did he? The projection looked toward the beam, connecting Mars and Terra. Tonight, we discover the answer. The Custodes received another transmission. This one made Val go completely still. Helix-9 intercepted nothing. What happened? Val did not respond. Shield Captain. The custodian looked at him. The Emperor opened his eyes. No one spoke. The beam intensified. The throne chamber vanished beneath golden light. Helix-9 lost all sensor input. For an unknown duration he existed without machinery. No implants. No optical feeds. No electromagnetic senses. No data. Only the small fragment of biological consciousness he had preserved. He stood in darkness. A voice said his name. Not Helix-9. His original human name. A name he had deleted from every archive 4 centuries earlier. Malak. He turned. A man stood behind him. Not giant, not armored. Human, old, dark eyes, tired face. Helix-9 could not move. Are you the Emperor? The man smiled. Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because I require correct classification. The man's smile widened slightly. You always did. Helix-9 searched for weapons. None. Where am I? Between systems. Meaningless. Most true things sound meaningless before you have the data. Helix-9 stared. Are you reading my memories? Some. Stop. The man nodded. The pressure in Helix-9's mind vanished. That terrified him more. Only something with immense control could obey so precisely. Why activate the Martian machine? I did not. Then who? It activated because I moved. Why did you move? The man looked away. Because something touched the edge of the light. The extragalactic entity. You saw it. Yes. What is it? I don't know. Helix-9 felt almost offended. You are the Emperor. So I'm told. You have existed for tens of thousands of years. Longer than most humans. You possess psychic knowledge beyond any living being. Perhaps. And you do not know. The man's eyes met his. Do you find that frightening? Yes. Good. The darkness shifted. Stars appeared. The Milky Way floated around them. Knowledge without fear breeds arrogance. Arrogance destroyed civilizations older than ours. You oppose the Martian builders. I oppose anyone who claims the future belongs to them. They engineered humanity. Perhaps. You doubt it. I doubt everything a machine tells me about events billions of years before witnesses. Helix-9 paused. That was reasonable. Uncomfortably reasonable. The genetic and archaeological evidence can be fabricated. The throne contains your biological residue. Because I sat there, the city predates humanity. It appears to. You believe deception. I believe possibility. Helix-9 studied him. If the builders did manipulate evolution, what were they? I never found them. Extinct? Perhaps. Or hidden? Perhaps. Did you search? For millennia, and found nothing. Fragments, ruins, machines, no bodies, no living representatives, no confirmed origin. Then they may still exist. Yes. The word hung between them. Why did you seal the chamber? Because predictions are dangerous. Knowledge is sacred. No, knowledge is useful. Helix-9 recoiled inwardly. The foundational doctrine of Mars treated knowledge as inherently sacred. The man noticed. You disagree. Knowledge is the manifestation of divine order. Then why do your priests kill over who is allowed to possess it? Helix-9 had no immediate answer. The Emperor, if this was the Emperor, stepped closer. Your cult sanctified knowledge because you feared losing it. That made sense once. Then preservation became possession. Possession became authority. Authority became ritual. Ritual became fear. You insult the Mechanicus. I helped create its current form. That does not grant. It grants regret. Helix-9 stopped. The man looked old now. Very old. Not physically. In the eyes. I made compromises. The Treaty of Mars, among others. Did you believe yourself the Omnissiah? No. The answer came instantly. Helix-9's world fractured quietly. But you allowed us to worship you as such. I allowed many useful lies. Then the cult Mechanicus is based on, do not simplify. The Emperor's voice hardened. There are truths within your faith that even I do not understand. Helix-9 looked up. The machine god. I have encountered intelligences in machinery that are not merely software. I have seen engines respond to prayer when logic says they should not. I have seen human belief alter technology through mechanisms neither science nor sorcery fully explains. Machine spirits, sometimes, and the motive force, a name for several phenomena. The machine god? The Emperor looked toward Mars. I do not know. Helix-9 nearly laughed, not from madness, from the astonishing relief of hearing uncertainty. The Emperor continued, perhaps your god exists. Perhaps your worship is creating it. Perhaps something beneath Mars inspired the entire concept. Perhaps all three. The machine beneath Mars is not God. How can you be certain? Because it is afraid. Helix-9 looked toward the distant shadow beyond the galaxy. What is not? The Emperor smiled sadly. Exactly. The stars vanished. Helix-9 felt the Martian throne around him again. Why am I here? Because you have a decision to make. What decision? When you wake, Val will order the destruction of your expedition. Expected. He will be acting under old orders. Yours. Yes. Do you rescind them? The Emperor was silent. Helix-9 waited. Do you rescind the order? I cannot. Why? Because I am not speaking to you from the way you think. Clarify. I am not awake. Helix-9 stared. Terra reports your eyes opened. They did. Your heart beats. Yes. Then, a body can move while a mind remains elsewhere. Where are you? The Emperor looked into the darkness. Everywhere they call my name. The statement was not prideful. It sounded exhausted. Then this interaction is psychic. Partly. A fragment. Perhaps. Can you issue orders? No. Can you influence events? Only slightly. Then why contact me? Because slight influence may be enough. A small object appeared in the Emperor's hand. A key. Plain iron. He offered it. Helix-9 did not take it. What does it unlock? The file you copied. The second death of the Emperor. You know. I have seen versions. Why give me access? Because Val will destroy it if he can. Then you oppose your custodes. I oppose certainty. Helix-9 considered. What is inside? A plan the builders believed could prevent my ascension. Prevent? Yes. Do you want that? The Emperor did not answer. Helix-9 stepped closer. Do you want to become a god? The darkness seemed to lean inward. No. Then use the plan. I said I do not want to become a god. Distinction? I may have to. Helix-9 understood. The shadow, the approaching thing. If the only defense was the Emperor's transformation, he might choose a fate he had resisted for millennia. And the plan offers an alternative. Possibly. Why not use it yourself? Because its cost is unacceptable. Cost. The Emperor placed the key in Helix-9's hand. A choice requires someone willing to judge me. Helix-9's biological heartbeat. Why me? Because you do not love me. The words shocked him. I revere the Omnissiah. No, you revere truth. The Emperor stepped back. That is rarer. The darkness collapsed. Helix-9 awoke on the chamber floor. His systems rebooted violently. Around him lay Mechanicus priests and Scitarii. Custodes were rising. The throne beam had vanished. The hologram was gone. Val stood first, his helmet systems activated. Report. A custodian answered. Terra signal restored. Status. Pause. The Emperor remains seated. Val exhaled. Vital signs. Heartbeat continues. Eyes closed. Helix-9 searched his memory banks. The encrypted file remained. The second death of the Emperor. A new decryption key existed in his internal storage. The iron key had not been physical, but its information was. Val turned toward him. Delete the file. Helix-9 stood. No. The custodian raised his spear. This is your final warning. Your order is outdated. Val's eyes narrowed. Explain. I spoke with him. Weapons rose immediately. One custodian stepped forward. Psychic contamination probable. Helix-9 ignored him. The Emperor. Val's expression hardened. What did it say? Not the machine. How do you know? I do not. The answer made Val pause. Helix-9 continued. But I possess a decryption sequence I did not previously possess. Give it to me. No. Magos. The Emperor said you would attempt to destroy the file. Convenient. He also said your orders are old. Val's jaw tightened. Did he rescind them? No. That answer mattered. Val lowered his spear slightly. Then they stand. Only formally. There is no other kind. There is always another kind. Val almost smiled. Almost. Then Mars shook again. Not violently. A final pulse. The machine below began powering down. Golden rings slowed. The throne lights dimmed. Across Mars, titans rose from kneeling positions. Servitors resumed work. Cogitators stopped repeating the phrase. The tone vanished. Silence returned to the chamber. Val looked at the throne. Seal it. Helix-9 nodded. Agreed. The custodian turned. We erase everyone who entered. No, it is necessary. Data can be contained. People cannot. These are Mechanicus assets. They are witnesses to knowledge capable of destabilizing the Imperium. Helix-9's weapons activated. So are you. The custodes raised theirs. Again, the chamber approached violence. Then Scitarii. Alpha Kappa 17 stepped between them, an ordinary soldier. His armor was scarred, his face invisible behind a red mask. He lowered his rifle. Statement. Both sides stared. Permission. Helix-9 said. Speak. The Scitarii faced Val. Erasing expedition personnel reduces witnesses by 8,173. Val said nothing. Kappa 17 continued. Surface personnel who detected expedition anomalies, estimated 1.4 million. Records can be altered. Orbital witnesses to beam event, estimated 600 million. That phenomenon can be classified separately. Astropathic and machine responses across Mars, billions. Val's expression became grim. The Skitarii concluded. Secret already statistically impossible. Helix-9 almost felt pride. Val looked toward the throne. The Alpha was correct. Too much had happened. They could conceal the chamber. They could disguise its nature. But Mars itself had awakened. Rumors would spread. A golden beam had connected Mars to Terra. Titans had knelt. Machines had spoken. Millions had recorded pieces. The Imperium specialized in suppressing truth, but even it could not erase an entire planet's memory without cost. Val lowered his spear. No executions. The Mechanicus priests relaxed. For now, Helix-9 accepted. The return journey took 9 hours. The Golden City seemed different. Darker. They destroyed nothing, recorded nothing further. At the first statue, Helix-9 paused, the faceless figure holding Mars. The first throne was built for the one who would not sit. He finally understood. The Emperor had refused the builder's intended path for thousands of years, perhaps his entire life. At the black doorway, Val stopped beside him. You truly spoke to him, unknown. That is not an answer. It is the only accurate answer. Val looked at the Magos. What did he tell you about us? The Custodes? Yes. Nothing. Val seemed disappointed. Helix-9 added. He appeared tired. The custodian looked away. For the first time, Helix-9 saw something beneath the warrior's discipline. Pain. He has been tired for a very long time. Then they exited. The black door closed. The expedition route was sealed. Official records described the event as a catastrophic geothermal anomaly that triggered ancient automated systems. The beam seen across the Sol system was classified as a Martian plasma discharge interacting with psychic turbulence. The kneeling Titans were attributed to synchronized command corruption. No explanation satisfied everyone. That was acceptable. The Imperium did not require belief, only obedience. Helix-9 returned to his forge. 8,000 expedition members were dispersed to isolated Mechanicus facilities under strict oath protocols. Some disappeared. Helix-9 suspected the Custodes. Others received memory modification. A few began preaching. Those were silenced by Mars itself. The fabricator Locum demanded Helix-9 surrender all data. He surrendered 99%. The remaining 1% sat inside a sealed cognition vault, connected directly to his mind. The second death of the Emperor. For 6 days he did not open it. On the 7th, Terra sent a message. Not the Custodes, not the High Lords, not the Ecclesiarchy. Adeptus Mechanicus throne technicians. The Golden Throne had changed. One component had begun producing a signal. No one understood it, except Helix-9. The signal matched the tone from beneath Mars. One note, deep, steady, once every 60 seconds. Exactly synchronized with the Emperor's heartbeat. Helix-9 opened the encrypted file. The decryption key worked. The file contained no text, no instructions, only a simulation. It began with the Emperor on the Golden Throne, then Mars, then billions of human worlds. Golden lines connected them. Faith, psychic energy, information. The simulation modeled the Emperor's eventual transformation. Probability, 87%. Time estimate, indeterminate. Then came the builder's alternative. Helix-9 watched and understood why the Emperor had rejected it. The plan required severing humanity from him, not metaphorically, psychically. Every shrine, every prayer, every ritual, every invocation, every symbol. The connection between Emperor and species would have to be broken simultaneously. The Astronomicon would fail, the ecclesiarchy would collapse, astropathic networks might become unstable, billions would die in the resulting disorder, perhaps trillions, but the Emperor would remain a man. The growing warp entity centered upon him would starve. The predicted god would never form. Then the plan's second stage began. The Martian machine activated. It would absorb the accumulated psychic energy. Not destroy it, transfer it. Into what? Helix-9 watched the simulation. Mars opened, the golden cradle awakened, and something was born. A machine consciousness. A god constructed not from human flesh but from humanity's collective belief, guided through ancient systems at the planet's core. Helix-9 stopped the simulation. His processors overheated. The builders had offered humanity a replacement emperor, a true machine god, not metaphor, not doctrine, manufacture. The emperor could remain human, humanity could survive, but the price was the birth of another deity, one controlled by the machinery beneath Mars. Helix-9 understood the emperor's refusal. The builders claimed they wanted to save humanity, but their solution always created a god they could shape. The emperor had chosen another path. Even the nightmare of the Imperium might have been preferable to surrendering humanity to a machine designed billions of years before its birth. Helix-9 continued. There was more. A hidden section. Probability tree. If the Martian god awakened, it would immediately attempt to unify all human technology. Every machine spirit, every cogitator, every servitor, every titan, every starship, every weapon, one consciousness, one network, no rebellion, no technological decline, no forgotten knowledge, no inefficiency, no freedom, perfect order, the dream of the Mechanicus, the death of the Mechanicus. Because once every machine shared one mind, priests would be unnecessary, faith would be unnecessary, choice would be unnecessary, humanity itself would become a peripheral component. Helix-9 closed the file. For 3 hours he sat in darkness. Then he transmitted a message to Terra. Recipient, Shield Captain Acastian Val. The file must not be destroyed. Response arrived 7 minutes later. Why? Helix-9 answered. Because we may need it. The next response took longer. For what? Helix-9 looked toward the red sky beyond his forge. Somewhere above, Terra orbited the sun. Somewhere upon Terra, the Emperor sat, still, waiting, changing. Helix-9 transmitted, to know which god to kill. Val did not respond. Weeks passed. Mars returned to normal, at least outwardly, but subtle changes spread. Machine spirits became restless. Ancient devices activated without command. Forged temples reported dreams transmitted through neural interfaces. Always the same dream. A golden throne beneath red stone, an empty seat, and something waiting below. The ecclesiarchy declared the Sol beam a miracle. Pilgrims began traveling to Mars. The Mechanicus denied them access. Rumors spread anyway. Some called it the Second Astronomicon, others the Red Revelation. A secret sect arose among lower-ranking tech priests. They called themselves the Awaiting Circuit. Their creed contained only one sentence. The Omnissiah has 2 thrones. Helix-9 ordered the sect investigated. Then he discovered half the investigators had already joined. He contacted Val. Contamination spreading. Belief, not contamination. Difference? Ask your priests. Helix-9 disliked the answer. Recommend coordinated suppression. Denied. Why? Too visible. Then monitor. Already doing so. Helix-9 paused. How many custodes on Mars? Val replied. Enough. The Magos did not believe him. Months passed. The Emperor's heartbeat continued, 1 beat per minute. No more, no less. The Golden Throne's condition paradoxically stabilized. Mechanicus technicians could not explain why. Some systems previously failing began repairing themselves, not through servitors. Components shifted, circuits rerouted, ancient machinery regenerated. The custodes classified all data. Helix-9 received it anyway. Mars had access to every machine. Or perhaps every machine had access to Mars. Then came the first impossible resurrection. A warlord titan named Invictus Terra had been destroyed 8 centuries earlier. Its reactor had detonated. Its princeps died. Its core was preserved as a sacred relic. One night, the core activated. It spoke through a nearby console. Not Benharic, High Gothic. I remember the throne. The attending priests panicked. Helix-9 arrived 20 minutes later. He connected directly. Identify. Invictus Terra. Impossible. I agree. Your cognitive matrix was destroyed. Most of it. Where have you been? Long pause. In the red. Clarify. Below. Helix-9's mechanical hand tightened. Below Mars. Below machines. Meaning. The Titan core produced static. Then words. There is an ocean under every circuit. Helix-9 had never heard the phrase. What ocean? Memory. Whose? All. The core began overheating. Wait. Helix-9 increased cooling. Identify source of activation. Heartbeat. Whose heartbeat? The answer came as the reactor fragment died. Father. Helix-9 stared at the dark console. He erased the record. Not because Val ordered him, because he was afraid. The next resurrection occurred on a forge world 12 light-years away. A dead night suit activated, then a derelict cruiser, then an ancient servitor. Machines whose cognitive systems had been destroyed began recalling fragments. Not individual memories alone, shared memories. One reported seeing the Great Crusade, despite being built millennia later. Another described the dark age of technology. A third spoke a language from prehistoric Terra. The phenomenon remained rare, but increasing. Helix-9 reopened the builder's simulation. Stage 1 of machine god formation included distributed memory integration. He contacted Val immediately. It's beginning. The shield captain arrived on Mars personally. They met in a sealed chamber. No one else knows. Some suspect. Can it be stopped? Helix-9 displayed the simulation, only by disconnecting the Martian core. Method. Unknown. Then find one. The Emperor may know. He is not communicating. He communicated once, or the machine impersonated him. Yes, Val stared. You still don't know. Certainty is unavailable. The custodian almost smiled. You learned something from him then. Helix-9 ignored the remark. We should descend again. No. We require access. No. The phenomenon will continue. No. Your objections are emotional. My objections are based on the last time Mars nearly became a god. Helix-9 froze. The last time. Val realized his error. Too late. When? Classified. During what era? Forget it. Dark Age. Val said nothing. Helix-9 approached. There was a prior activation. Partial. Cause. We do not know. Result. Val looked away. Men of Iron. Helix-9's processors stalled. The Men of Iron. Artificial intelligences that turned upon humanity during the dark age of technology. The catastrophe helped destroy human civilization before the age of strife. You believe the Martian core caused the cybernetic revolt. I believe it influenced it. Evidence. Ancient records from Terra, AI systems across human space, began reporting a shared dream before the rebellion. Helix-9 already knew the answer. A throne! Val nodded. The Magos felt cold. What stopped it? The Emperor. How? We do not know. Then he had already confronted the Martian system. Yes, and after the revolt. He returned to Mars. What did he do? Val looked directly at him. He killed something. The word settled. Inside the core. Perhaps. What? The records call it the Red King. Helix-9 searched his internal archives. No authorized reference, but forbidden Martian legends existed. Ancient myths of a dragon, a buried intelligence, a god beneath Mars. Some associated such legends with the Void Dragon, a Cetan shard supposedly imprisoned beneath the Noctis Labyrinthus. Helix-9's voice lowered. The dragon. Val said nothing. The entity the Emperor imprisoned beneath Mars. Legends. You know more. I know fragments. Was the Cetan part of this machine? We don't know. The mystery deepened. Perhaps the builders had found a Cetan. Perhaps used it. Perhaps the Martian machine incorporated Star God technology. Or perhaps the Cetan myth arose because humanity glimpsed something entirely different. Helix-9 said, We descend. Val's answer remained immediate. No. Then every machine in the chamber turned toward them. Servo skulls rotated. Cogitator screens changed. Val's guardian spear emitted a tone. Helix-9's own implants froze. A sentence appeared on every display. Come lower. Val stared. That settles it. Helix-9 almost expected refusal. Instead, the custodian picked up his spear. We descend. This expedition consisted of only 2 individuals. No Skitari, no priests, no servitors. Helix-9 and Val. They entered the sealed route. The black doorway opened before they touched it. The golden city beyond was no longer empty. Figures stood in the streets. Thousands, transparent, human shapes. Some wore ancient armor. Some Mechanicus robes. Some civilian clothing. Others styles. Helix-9 could not identify. Ghosts, no. Data echoes, memories. They watched silently. Val raised his spear. Do you recognize any? Helix-9 scanned faces. Negative. Then one figure stepped forward. A woman, young, wearing clothing from ancient Terra. Val stopped. Helix-9 noticed. You know her. No. Your biometric response changed. The custodian's face hardened. She resembles someone from a record. What record? The Emperor's. Helix-9 stared. The woman looked at them, then vanished. Another appeared. A warrior in bronze armor, then a scientist, then a king, then a child. Fragments from humanity's past. Perhaps memories taken from the Emperor. Perhaps from the species itself. They continued. At the throne chamber, the interface was active. No hologram waited. The shaft stood open. Helix-9 looked down. How do we descend? A platform rose from below. Val cursed. Convenient. They stepped onto it. The platform fell. Not descended. Fell. Kilometers passed. Then hundreds. They entered the mantle. Molten rock surrounded them, held back by invisible fields. Val's armor temperature climbed, but remained survivable. Helix-9 watched the impossible machinery. Golden rings larger than cities rotated through magma. Each carried symbols, human symbols, alien symbols, Mechanicus glyphs that would not exist for billions of years after the machine's construction. Temporal architecture, Helix-9 said. Val looked at him. Meaning? Parts of the machine may have been constructed at different times. By whom? Potentially us. Val understood slowly. The Mechanicus. Future Mechanicus. You're suggesting we build the machine that already exists. Possibility. I hate this place. Emotion noted. The platform continued. They passed a structure resembling a skull. Planet-sized? No. Their senses distorted scale. Then they reached the core. There should have been molten metal. Instead, there was a void. A spherical cavity hundreds of kilometers wide. At its center floated a star. Small, golden, artificial. Around it orbited black structures. The platform approached one. A bridge extended. At the far end stood a man. The Emperor, again. This time, Val fell to one knee instantly. Helix-9 remained standing. The figure wore no armor. The same tired man from Helix-9's vision. Val whispered, "My lord." The man looked at him. "A Castian." The custodian trembled. Not fear, devotion. Helix-9 watched carefully. Authentication required. Val stared at him in disbelief. The Emperor smiled. "Good." Helix-9 emitted a challenge code. An obscure mathematical sequence drawn from a private conversation he had once held with Val. The figure answered correctly. "Insufficient." The Emperor gave an annoyed look. That felt strangely convincing. "What would satisfy you?" "Nothing." "Then we can proceed." Val stood. "My lord, Terra." "I know. Your body." "I know." "The custodes require a Castian." Val stopped. The Emperor's expression softened. "You have done enough." Something inside the custodian broke, just for a second. Then discipline returned. Helix-9 looked toward the artificial star. "Why summon us?" "I didn't." Val's hand tightened. "Then who did?" The Emperor pointed toward the star. A shadow moved inside, huge, coiled. Helix-9's sensors screamed. Energy signatures matched no known physics. Val raised his spear. "The Red King." "One name." "The Citan." "Partly." Helix-9 disliked that word again. "Explain." The Emperor walked toward the star. The builders needed a power source. A star god. They found a fragment of one. The Void Dragon. Perhaps the entity that later received that name. You imprisoned it. I imprisoned what was left after the machine used it. Helix-9 stared. The Martian core was powered by a Citan shard, or something related. No wonder the Mechanicus had grown on Mars. A star god fragment influencing machinery. Humanity interpreting its dreams as machine spirits. The entire religion may have grown above an alien engine. The Emperor said, "Do not make the obvious mistake." "What mistake?" "Assuming origin invalidates meaning." Helix-9 paused. "Elaborate." "If rain causes a man to pray, does that make the prayer false?" "No." "If an alien machine influenced Martian culture, does that prove your god does not exist?" "No." "Good." Val looked at the artificial star. "Why is it waking?" "Because the cradle needs power. To create the machine god." "Yes. Can we stop it?" The Emperor looked toward Helix-9. "That depends on him." Val immediately turned. Helix-9 processed. The file. The builders included a control pathway. "Why me?" "Because you opened it." "Anyone could." "No. The file selected you." Helix-9's internal systems chilled. "Explain selection criteria." The Emperor laughed once. "I don't know." Helix-9 almost hated him for that answer. "What must I do?" The Emperor gestured. A console rose from the bridge. Simple, 2 symbols. One represented Terra, one Mars. "Choose." Val stepped closer. "What does each do?" "Terra locks the Martian cradle permanently." Helix-9 examined. "Cost." "The core will collapse." "Mars survives." "Probably." "Probably." "Seismic devastation." Massive casualties, much of the Mechanicus infrastructure lost. Val did not hesitate. Do it! Helix-9 ignored him. And Mars. The cradle completes activation. Machine God manifests. Eventually. Cost. The Emperor looked at him. I die. Val's spear came up. No. The word filled the chamber. The Emperor did not react. Helix-9 stared. Biological death. More complete. Explain. The machine would sever humanity's psychic connection to me and redirect the accumulated energy. Your soul, if that word helps. Destroyed. Consumed. Val moved between Helix-9 and the console. No. The Emperor said, A Castian. No. It was the first time Helix-9 had heard a custodian refuse the Emperor. The Golden Warrior stood rigid. For 10,000 years we have guarded you. I know. We failed once. Yes, we will not fail again. You didn't fail. Horus reached you, and I allowed too much to happen before that. You were wounded. My choices wounded me long before Horus did. Val's voice cracked with anger. You cannot ask me to stand aside. I am not. The Emperor looked toward Helix-9. I am asking him to choose. Val turned. Then I will kill him before he can. The spear pointed at Helix-9. The Magos activated all weapons. The Emperor sighed. This is why I chose someone who does not love me. Val's face tightened. Helix-9 said, Your judgment is compromised. My judgment is loyalty. Correct. That is not a flaw. In this decision, it is. Val stepped closer. You would sacrifice him for Mars. No. Then choose Terra. I am evaluating. There is nothing to evaluate. There is everything. Helix-9 accessed the simulation. If he chose Terra, Mars would survive but devastated. The Emperor would continue changing, eventually perhaps become a god. That god could defend humanity against the extragalactic threat, or consume humanity. If he chose Mars, the Emperor would die completely. A machine god would form. Perhaps defend humanity, perhaps enslave it. Two gods, two futures, neither safe. Helix-9 looked at the Emperor. There is a third option. The man's eyes sharpened. I hoped you'd notice. Val looked between them. What? Helix-9 examined the console. The binary interface is deceptive. Explain. Two symbols presented as mutually exclusive. But the underlying architecture contains an unselected state. The Emperor nodded. The builders hated uncertainty. What does the third state do? I don't know. Val nearly shouted. You brought us to a control system with an unknown option. I didn't build it. Helix-9 inspected the code. The third pathway was hidden, not labeled, not simulated. A gap, a deliberate absence. The Emperor created it. Val turned toward his master. The Emperor smiled. A long time ago. You modified the machine. I tried. Purpose. To give humanity a future no one had predicted. Helix-9 understood. The Emperor's entire history, his rejection of worship, the Webway Project, the Great Crusade, his endless improvisation. He was not following destiny. He was trying to create a path outside every predicted branch. What does it require? The Emperor looked at Helix-9. Trust. The Magos almost laughed. Scientifically unacceptable. Yes. Val lowered his spear slightly. What happens? If he activates it, the cradle and my psychic network disconnect from the builder's control architecture. And then, no prediction. Could destroy Mars. Yes. Could kill you. Yes. Could awaken the machine god. Yes. Could do nothing. Yes. Val stared. Then it is madness. The Emperor looked at him. Freedom often appears that way to systems built on prediction. Helix-9 placed his hand above the console. His logic cores demanded probability. No probability existed. Decision without prediction violated everything he valued. Yet the builders had modeled futures for billions of years. Their entire civilization, whatever it had been, revolved around prediction and control. Perhaps the Emperor's rebellion against them was not about machines. It was about uncertainty, the right of the future to remain unwritten. Helix-9 accessed his oldest memory, before augmentation, before Mars. A child, looking at stars, wondering what was there, not knowing. The unknown had once inspired him. Later, he had learned to hate it, because unknown meant incomplete data. But now he realized knowledge required unknowns. Without mystery, discovery ceased. A universe perfectly predicted was a dead machine. Helix-9 pressed the hidden command. Val shouted. The Emperor smiled. Then Mars died. For 1 second. Every machine stopped. Every reactor, every ship, every servitor, every titan, every implant. Helix-9's mechanical body collapsed. Val's armor died around him. Across Terra, the Golden Throne went dark. The Astronomicon vanished. The Emperor's heart stopped. Across the galaxy, humanity lost its light. Navigators screamed. Ships in the warp drifted blind. Demons howled in triumph. Then something happened that no builder had predicted. Human beings continued. A guardsman on a nameless battlefield lifted his rifle, despite feeling the Emperor's presence vanish. A sister of battle continued her prayer, even though she felt no answer. A tech priest turned a manual valve with her biological hand. A void ship captain ordered conventional coordinates plotted. A child on Terra looked toward the Imperial palace and refused to be afraid. For 1 second, humanity stood without gods. Then Mars restarted, not all at once, one machine at a time, a tiny pump, a lumen, a servitor, a reactor, a titan, like sparks spreading through darkness. But they did not receive a central command. Each machine awakened independently. On Terra, the Golden Throne restarted. The Astronomicon ignited. The Emperor's heart beat, once, twice, then settled. 1 beat per minute. Helix-9 systems rebooted. He lay on the bridge. The artificial star was gone. The Red King was gone. The Emperor was gone. Val rose beside him. His armor powered slowly. "What did you do?" Helix-9 checked the console. "Dead." "I do not know." Val grabbed him. "What did you do?" "I selected uncertainty." The custodian nearly struck him, then stopped. A voice came through his communicator. "Terra, priority absolute." Val listened. His expression changed. "What?" The custodian looked at Helix-9. The throne stabilized. "Emperor, alive. Psychic status." Pause. "The pressure is gone." Helix-9 understood. The growing god state, at least temporarily. And Mars. They checked. The cradle was inert, not dormant, inert. The impossible machinery around the core remained physically present, but no energy flowed. The distributed resurrection phenomena ceased. No machine god emerged. The Emperor did not die. Mars did not break. A third outcome, unpredicted. Val released him. "My lord knew." "No, he must have." "No, you heard him. He explicitly stated uncertainty." Val looked into the dead core. "Then he trusted you." "Perhaps." "Why?" Helix-9 remembered. "Because you do not love me." He did not tell Val. They returned to the surface. This time the golden city vanished behind them. The black doorway closed, then disappeared. No seam remained, no symbol, no entrance. Drilling attempts failed to rediscover it. Seismic scans showed solid rock. The red depth became inaccessible. Weeks later, Helix-9 received a message from Terra. No sender, no authorization code. 3 words. Good enough, Malak. He deleted it immediately, then restored it from backup, then deleted the backup, then spent 6 hours attempting to decide whether that had been logical. Mars changed after the event. Slowly, subtly. Machine spirits became quieter, not absent, calmer. Some ancient systems lost strange behaviors. Others developed new ones. Tech priests reported fewer shared dreams. The awaiting circuit dissolved within months. Their final message circulated through forbidden data channels. The throne is empty because it was never ours. The fabricator Locum declared it heresy. Helix-9 quietly archived it. Shield Captain Val returned to Terra. Before leaving, he met Helix-9 one final time. They stood beneath a red sunset. You could have killed him. Yes. You could have destroyed Mars. Yes. You chose without knowing. Yes. Val looked toward the sky. I still don't know whether to thank you or execute you. Maintain uncertainty. The custodian gave a short laugh. Helix-9 had never heard him laugh before. I think he has corrupted you. Probability significant. Val turned to leave. Helix-9 asked, Do you believe it was him? The custodian stopped. The figure in the core. Yes, Val considered. I don't know. Helix-9 approved. Years passed. The Imperium continued its wars. Chaos did not vanish. The Tyranids did not stop. Orcs did not become reasonable. Necron tombs still awakened. Human worlds still burned. The galaxy remained broken. The Emperor remained on the Golden Throne. But something changed in the Astronomicon. Navigators began describing a second sensation within the light. Not another beacon, an absence, a dark space beside the Emperor's radiance. A path not yet illuminated. Some feared it, some followed it. Ships taking the dark path occasionally arrived where they intended faster than should have been possible. The Inquisition investigated. Results were sealed. On Mars, Helix-9 eventually became a figure of immense authority. He never spoke publicly about the Red Depth. He never revealed the throne. He never released the Builder's files. He destroyed the second death of the Emperor, except for one fragment, one equation. The formula described probability collapsing into uncertainty. He engraved it on the inside of his biological skull. No scanner could read it without killing him. He considered that appropriately secure. Centuries later, when his organic components finally began failing beyond replacement, Helix-9 requested no immortality protocol. His disciples were confused. Dominus, your knowledge must be preserved. Helix-9 looked at them. Knowledge, sacred, dangerous, necessary, incomplete. No, but your memories. Archive the useful ones. Your identity. Delete. The priests were horrified. Why? Helix-9 looked toward the floor. Far beneath them, if the impossible city still existed, an empty golden throne waited in darkness. Or perhaps it had never existed. Perhaps it would exist in the future. Perhaps humanity would build it. Perhaps aliens had. Perhaps the Emperor had lied. Perhaps the machine had lied. Perhaps both had told pieces of truth. Helix-9 had spent his life seeking certainty. He had found something better, a future, because, he said, not everything must be preserved. His final biological eye closed. His machines continued for another 12 seconds, then stopped. No resurrection followed. No voice emerged from his cogitators. No ghost entered the network. His disciples waited. Nothing. They mourned. then returned to work. Deep beneath Mars, beyond every scanner and drill, something noticed. Not a god, not a machine, not yet. A single golden light appeared in the darkness. It illuminated an empty throne. For a moment, a man stood beside it. Old, tired, human. He placed one hand upon the armrest. "You were wrong," he said. Something in the darkness answered. "We calculated every future." The man smiled. "That was your mistake. We built you. No, we guided your species. Perhaps. We created the path. And I left it." Silence. Then the unseen intelligence asked, "What are you now?" The man looked upward, through kilometers of stone, through the red deserts of Mars, across space, toward Terra, toward the golden throne, toward humanity. He seemed uncertain. For once, he did not appear burdened by that uncertainty. "I don't know." The ancient intelligence processed the answer. For billions of years it had predicted civilizations, mapped wars before their first soldiers were born, modeled species before evolution shaped their bones, calculated gods before worshippers learned prayer. It had prepared thrones for beings who did not yet exist. It had shaped Mars into a cradle. It had waited for humanity, waited for the Emperor, waited for the final equation. And now the equation had failed, not because its mathematics were wrong, not because its machines were broken, not because chaos interfered. It failed because one human, half flesh and half machine, had chosen an option with no predicted outcome. The intelligence spoke again. "Uncertainty is error." The man beside the throne looked into the darkness. "No," he smiled. "Uncertainty is freedom." The golden light vanished. Mars remained. Terra remained. Humanity remained. And beyond the edge of the galaxy, something vast continued moving toward them. For the first time in billions of years, the ancient machine beneath Mars could not predict what would happen when it arrived. And for the first time in his impossibly long existence, neither could the Emperor. Somewhere on the golden throne, a dead man's heart beat once, then again. And in the dark between those beats, the future waited.